This is the video review of the Power Rangers Super Megaforce, Zeo Racer Zord, Delta Runner Zord, and Mystic Dragon Zord. The reason I'm reviewing these guys all together, instead of just one at a time, is because by themselves, even though they have a price point of about $15, they come with these kind of worthless Power Ranger figurines that just sort of stand on them, but aren't actually posable or fun in any way. You get Ranger keys with each of them, and with some of them you actually get missiles. Even though they come with a lot of stuff, by themselves, these figures are not that great. You really need to have the Legendary Megazord. Definitely need to have a Zord Builder compatible Megazord to have any fun with these guys, preferably the Legendary Megazord. You need to have a Legendary Megazord, and at least one other, preferably all of these, in order for any one of them to really do anything interesting. So I'm doing these all together. I will be showing off the special features of this guy and this guy, but not this guy, because this guy is exactly the same as this guy. It's the exact same mold, except for a couple of paint and molding issues, superficial differences, because these really are the exact same thing. So, to get into it, I'll start with the Delta Runner Zord from Power Rangers SPD, and this looks pretty good. It rolls quite well, actually, even though the wheels are not the smoothest in the world. It does roll pretty well. It's a big, well, relatively big, about as big as what we got in Gokaiger, and pretty sturdy. Doesn't come apart, and overall it's not bad. Now, by itself, what it can do is you can start pulling it apart. These right here attach on these clips right here. Then you can pop these apart, and these attach on the clips right here. And then on the Zord Builder ports on the side of the central unit. And these are Zord Builder ports. This is kind of cool. They fold away. Now, if you just have this, what you can do with this is if you can take the back halves, attach them to the side like this, and then you can take the fronts, and they have these little gun handles inside right here, and that allows you to plug them into these holes right here, like this. Do that to the other side, and, well, with just one it falls over, but if you do it with both, you kind of like a mobile missile base. Put it together like this, it will stand, and it can kind of roll around a little bit. And then if you take one of the missiles, and the missiles come with these two guys, by the way, not that guy, you can put the missiles in, and then you can take the this Ranger key right here, open it up, and then put it into the back like this, and then the missile will fire a decent ways, actually. Depends on how far you push it in, because it's one of those pressure missiles. Anyway, this by itself is okay, but not particularly interesting. Put it off to the side. Next we'll look at the Magi Dragon, or the Mystic Dragon. And by itself, this thing is actually kind of terrible. It looks bad as a dragon. The original one from Gokaiger wasn't particularly good, but it looked much better than this. It was bigger, the wings had more depth to them, had more paint, and it didn't have these giant claws on the side like this. The claws are actually on the back, so it had a big club tail, but it looked better than this. So this one, it looks really cheap. And the plastic is a decent quality, but it looks kind of cheap. So if you take the appropriate Ranger key, the only other thing you can do with this besides look at it as a dragon is you can put it in like this, and the wings will kind of flap. It's not very consistent. Getting them both to go at the same time, it's not very good either. And you're pressing two buttons down there, and when you press one button, it will cause this little thing right here to come up, and that will press the wing up. And it just doesn't end up working very well. So there, I've basically reviewed all these things by themselves. Now I'll start looking at these things as they relate to the Legendary Megazord. So we'll look at this guy first. Delta Runner Zord. Pop it all apart. And with this, what the instructions tell you to do first is to take the back quarters and attach them to the legs like this. Then open up the chest. Put this into the chest, and this does not actually plug into the chest. It just sort of frictions into the chest. If you look on the back here, there's molding that looks like the holes. Like if you look at the back of the Mystic Dragon Zord, you can see some hexagon things kind of in the same position here, 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 and here. It makes it look like this was originally molded to be able to plug into the chest of the legendary Megazord. I think the reason why it doesn't do that is because if it plugged in, you would have a very hard time getting it out, because there's almost no place to grip this thing. So as it stands, it just sort of frictions into place loosely. It won't just fall out, but you don't want to be just flailing this all around, or else it might fall out. And then the last thing that the instructions want you to do is, well, you can use these things as either guns in the hands like this, using the handles, or if you fold these up, then you can attach them onto the arms like this. And this is how the instructions tell you to combine the Delta Runner Zord with a legendary Megazord. It's okay, but kind of makes it kind of thick and too bulky. What I prefer to do is something slightly different. And are also Zord builder pegs on the underside, ports on the underside of these things. You can put them onto the side like this, and put this, do the same thing kind of with the legs like this. And this way, on this side, the arm is basically unimpeded, and I think it looks a lot more clean like this. So this is how I prefer to have this attached, so that there is not a, so it's not quite so thick and nothing gets in the way. This is how I prefer to do it. That's not how the instructions do it. But you have plenty of options because of all the Zord Builder ports on all these guys, and the Zord Builder pegs everywhere. So that's what the Delta Runner and the Zeo Racer Zords are like. They're the exact same things. The only big difference is these, instead of being guns, are sort of like a punching fist, which is actually kind of a cool concept. Almost a little bit like boxing gloves, actually. Boom. Punch, punch, punch. Now, anyway, next thing I want to do is I want to get into the Mystic Dragon. And Mystic Dragon is actually really cool. With the Legendary Megazord, the Mystic Dragon is probably the best of the bunch. And it's certainly better than what Gokaiger gave us. Because with Gokaiger, the Mystic Dragon was not able to really change the look of Gokaio very much, because there just wasn't room in Gokaio. In Gokaio, all the parts of the Magi Dragon had to fit inside the arm and leg compartments and chest compartments, and that meant that you really weren't able to change your profile that much. It did a little bit, but the silhouette that much, and it did a little bit, but not quite enough. This guy is a different story. Pop these off, and they are the legs. Pop these off, and they are the wings. Then you'll take the chest, fold in the head and the ears, put it in like this, plug it in, and it plugs fairly well into it. Sometimes you'll hear it click, sometimes you won't. Then pop this up, and then we'll start combining the other parts here. And this first part right here is one thing I really like about Legendary Megazord over Gokaio, which is, if you see these feet in the actual footage, these feet come over these dragon claws come over the feet just like this, so this is very show accurate. On Gokaio, the dragon feet were just these little piddly things that just came over the feet like this, and it was not impressive at all. But this actually changed the look of the figure dramatically, and it's great. Then what the instructions have you do is they have you put the wings on like this, which looks fine, but it interrupts the way the arms work, the posability of the arms, and it causes it so that on this side right here, to access this port right here, you need to have these wings out, or that wing out, and that kind of ruins the silhouette a little bit. So this is the way the instructions tell you to do it. The way I prefer to do it is to put them onto the side like this, which gives you a wider wingspan that does not intrude on the arm posability. So these Zord Builder ports on the arms are really great. They really add to the figure quite a bit. So here's what Legendary Megazord looks like without the dragon chest deployed. Then if you take this, pop it in, turn it, you still get kind of what Gokaio had, where parts would just fling out, just not quite as dramatic. But the overall result is you get a much better looking finished product. I really like the way this looks. And it's still basically show accurate, it's just that you don't have the doors open, which look really messy, and then you don't have the wings aren't painted in, and they're actually quite a bit bigger compared to the size of the Legendary Megazord here. So yeah, overall I like the set. So now I've shown you basically what these sets are by themselves. Now I'll show you what they are together on the Legendary Megazord. Actually, no, I need to keep this on. because the end result of this is really, really, really cool. So we'll leave the Mystic Dragon attached for now, and then we'll start taking apart the Zord Racer, or the Zeo Racer. We'll start attaching parts over here, over here. Now we have the legs done. Then we'll take these, we'll attach them to the ports up here, like this. Take these, attach them to the back, like this. And then what I like to do is I like to take these chest pieces, and these chest pieces are great because they have they're like male ports for these guys, so they're really useful. So I like to put these onto here, and then to take one of these and attach it to the front like this, so you get an arm that has a cannon on the side like this, and then do the same to the other side because you end up having two of these. And I'm attaching it to the wing, so it is kind of a long and a little bit fragile connection, or rather not super stable, but it's not too bad. But anyway, once you get this all together, then you have not a huge Megazord, but it's still very big, very impressive. You've got a wide wingspan here, you've got guns on the arms, you've got little guns down here, you've got dragon claws, you have guns on the shoulders, you've got dragon just ripping out the chest like a chest burster. And this is the magic of having all three of these sets, because together, because you have the Zeo Racer Zord and the Deltrunner Zord, you can actually work in quite a bit of symmetry on these guys all throughout the figure. You don't have to interrupt the arm posability here. And then the dragon really gives it a sort of bestial look because it has the claw feet down here, it has a dragon coming out of the chest, and the long wings. It just looks really, really intimidating, and it's really cool having all these guys together. By themselves, they're not that great. With the Legendary Megazord, they're a little bit better. But all together is where they really shine. That's, if you're going to get any of these, get all of these. That's my final recommendation on these guys. And then I guess I should go over the Ranger keys in closer detail now that I've covered the basic figures. So, because I know a lot of you guys actually are into collecting these guys. Here's the Magi Ranger guy, or the Power Rangers Mystic Force one. It's pretty okay. They're all kind of the same. Here's Power Rangers SPD Red Ranger. Here's the Power Rangers Zeo Red Ranger. And yeah, those are the Ranger keys. And you also get these guys. They're kind of worthless. They are very rubbery plastic with almost no posability. I guess they're just there to help justify the $15 price point. I would have been happier not having these guys and maybe saved $1 or something. I don't know. I mean, overall, it's a great set. I really like these guys together. This has been a review of them. Be sure to check our Facebook link down below, and I review lots of stuff like that. If any of that sounds interesting, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.